Привit, I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav, which is also the name that I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, where I'm known as Yaroslav the Persistent, although most people tend to call me Yari. And I've been using my YouTube channel to share information on Slavic folklore and mythology and Slavic history. Well, Halloween just passed a couple days ago. It's November 2nd, so it's, the second part of the Day of the Dead. And I was reminded yesterday of some of the spooky creatures of Ukrainian lore. Many I'd covered in previous videos in the Tales of the Borderland series. I try to do the spooky stuff in October, but sometimes the season gets away from me, especially if I'm exploring ghost towns, which is one of the other imprints for the channel, or if I'm off to an SCA war, which I should be leaving to one in about an hour. So these 6 creatures, well, some as I said, I'd heard of before and I'd done videos. Some basically I never got to, and then there were a few new ones that I ran into. So I figured I'd just do a little grab bag of spooky stuff and then finish my war prep. Okay, so here's the first of the spooky ones. Let's start with the Chertu Baran. Now, the Chertu Baran is a devil's mount, and that's when someone's being ridden by a devil, which a lot of demons use unfortunate mortals as steeds, and they basically jump on someone's back and they ride them around at breakneck speeds throughout the night, and then they abandon them around dawn, and exhausted and possibly broken, the people try to get back home. A Chertu Baran is different. A Chertu Baran is a suicide, and it's transformed into a horse, which is ridden by a devil. All right, so that's one of them out of the way. Okay, that kind of brings us to devils. The Chort. I'd heard my parents speak of the Chort, especially my dad, usually when he was swearing, and he would use the name Chort. Chort bida zabare, basically, devil take these woes. There's a bit more to it. Chort is the classic Slavic trickster devil, mischievous, he's greedy, he's envious, he's lazy. He's also a little bit dumb. He's a walking symbol of vice. He haunts houses and crossroads, loves to lure people into making bad bargains, eating bad deals. He can appear as a sheep, a cat. He can show up as a well-dressed gentleman hiding horns under a hat. He's routinely outwitted by sharp villagers who haggle loudly and cross themselves quietly. Fun fact, Chort is also a really strong insult in Ukrainian. Okay, next we go to the Carpathian Forest to meet the forest guardian called a Chuhaister. He looks a bit like a satyr, tall as a spruce, shaggy, kind of like a leshy, but with blue eyes. He's fond of people, protecting them from soul stealers like the Mavka, the temptress who lures men to their deaths. You'll recognize her if you see her back. Her spine is visible. And she's very much like the Rusalka that I've talked about. The Chuhaister can be dangerous, though. Build a campfire, this guy's going to show up. And he loves to dance. He loves to party. Wildly. Like a whirlwind. In fact, a nickname for him is Windy Grandpa. Dancing with the Chuhaister is exhausting. It can even prove fatal. People have died partying too hard with him. If you refuse to dance with him, you offend him, which can turn out real bad. But if you live through the dance, he's going to reward you. I'd never heard of the Karadog serpent before. Then I did a little poking around, and I saw a couple of really crappy pictures, so I'm not going to bother to use them. The Karadog serpent, it's a sea monster from the Black Sea, near Mount Karadog in Crimea. So that probably explains why it's sometimes called the Black Sea Dragon. And the Karadog flips over boats, it stirs up storms, gets blamed for the number of people that tend to go missing. And then I found out a little something else. The Karadog is the reason that a bunch of dolphins die in the Black Sea. So when these bodies wash up, that's him. Next up is the Potercha. That's another variant of the unbaptized child. It's a restless spirit who was miscarried or was stillborn or who died before baptism without a name. And such souls cry at the grave and they flicker like marsh lights, leading people off into the marshes, begging for a name and a cross. If this is granted within 7 to 9 years of the death, the soul becomes an angel. If not, the place the Potercha haunts becomes really creepy. Whirlwinds swirl there, lightning strikes. People who wander there become confused and get lost. Perciholovets is a monstrous man-eating giant. Origins are probably from Greek stories, but he's now typical of Ukrainian folklore. Legends often portrayed it as having a human body and a dog's head with a single huge eye in the middle of the forehead. Some tales describe these creatures as having just one arm and one leg, so they move in pairs by holding on to each other for support. And they lived in distant lands or unexplored parts of the forest. So it's about being from far away. According to myth, they were vicious, incredibly fast, impossible to defeat. They would drink the blood of their enemies and also capture people, throw them into deep pits, fatten them up with nuts, and then feast on them. Some believe they symbolized cruel foreign invaders, a horde that destroyed everything in its way. So there's 6 spooky creatures out of Ukrainian lore to think about while the days get shorter and the nights get longer. Well, I have to go pack for a war, so until the next time, do pobачення.